So, welcome to the Dumbbell Masterclass. So, we're going to have up to an hour to pack in as much value as we can to all you guys who want to get better at dumbbell. There's a massive range of people who've been interested in this, right from beginners who are just starting to do it for the first time, but there's lots of like advanced athletes who are part of the call as well. So hopefully we're confident we're going to give value to everybody right across the board. So to start off with, I'm going to give you a few simple little tips that are just instantly going to make everybody's dumbbell that little bit easier. Tip number one that takes no skill: chalk your dumbbell. Just get some liquid chalk or some powder chalk or whatever, and put that on the dumbbell, and then literally every time that you want to do your rep, make sure that you're cleaning with that part in contact with your shoulder. So, second tip that again is going to, if you want to take your dumbbell training seriously and you want to maximise what you can do, you're going to train it regularly. Get in a drop pad. So there's going to be an offer on. You're going to see how good these drop pads are by MST Systems, and there's going to be an offer on after this, which gives you 15% off. So if you go to the link tree, the link in my bio, you'll see the offer that we've got on. But a thing that I've always done for years with dumbbell, I've always got like sofa cushions and the foam mat of sofa cushions it's just absolutely brilliant at absorbing the impact. So the value that's going to give, we'll go into a bit more depth as we go along, but basically you're just going to be able to really develop the skill of the concentric phase, i.e. from the floor to overhead, and then you're going to be able to spare yourself from the eccentric fatigue of lowering it to your shoulders. So whenever I see people who are dumbbell training and they're lowering it to the shoulders, I always think to myself they're really holding back their potential. So anyway, I'm going to let these guys warm up a little bit, just organically, so you can see what they're doing, and then I'm just going to give them some cues as we go along, depending on what we do, and then we're going to cover some points that are golden, and then we're going to refer to some of the questions that people have written in and asked about. Good. Just keep going, guys, and I'll just keep talking. So, number one thing, if I had to prioritise one thing in terms of skill development, in terms of the dumbbell, priority number one would be find the rack position. So find the position where basically the dumbbell is balanced on your body or your torso, wherever, that is basically using your skeleton essentially. Because what we want to do is find a position where we're stacking our joints on top of each other. So essentially our muscles can relax somewhat. So we want to find a position where you're almost resting on your joints, and we want to do that. The most optimum position that you're going to find, just like your rubber lifts, is when the centre of the mass of the object, in this case the dumbbell, that's good still. Well, let's do a rep job. So when the centre of the mass of the dumbbell is aligned with the centre of mass of the body. So I'm going to go into a little bit more depth in this, so keep flowing, guys. So I want you to imagine, like you've seen the link on Instagram where you can see that red line through the middle of the dumbbell in the photograph that I put up the other day, and you can see that it's going through the middle of my feet. So the biggest error that I see with kind of novice, intermediate, even advanced lifters who are is basically the tendency of the dumbbell to go too far over. Basically, I mean, if you're racking it on your right side, the tendency is if you look at people's videos and people's errors, seeing people struggle, 9 times out of 10 you will see that people have this, if you drew the centre of mass of the dumbbell, it'd be towards this side that the dumbbell's racked on. So,
you can move me if you want, Josh.
Pardon?
You can move me.
So let's have a look at Tim then here. So let's just hold it there. So we've got two options here actually, right? And you can see that people can be successful with both ways. So what Tim's actually doing here, he's actually keeping extended with his lower body, and he's actually almost like twisting his torso a little bit to find that rack position. Can you maintain that as you dip and you drive? Yeah, can, very good. Not everybody can. So some people might find that position uncomfortable. Personally, I find that position quite uncomfortable. So imagine the dumbbells here. Tim, to find that centre line, Tim's going twisting here. Personally, what I prefer is I like moving my hips, moving my lower body, and therefore keeping the torso a little bit more upright and twisted, and then focusing on maintaining this torso as a dip. So let's
when the dumbbells kind of out the right that you explained.
No. I want you to do the other option. So instead of we'll cover that in a moment. So I want you to show your way, what you've just done by rotating. So good, right? If we drew a line down here, middle of his feet, big tip. Right. Now what I want you to do is maintain the vertical torso, and what I want you to do is almost shift your weight to your left leg a little bit. Right? So a lot of people will find this way that I'm suggesting instantly more comfortable. I'm not saying Tim does necessarily, and this is the thing with my style of coaching, guys. Like, I am never ever going to force feed information or my kind of philosophy on someone. It's always going to be, for me as a coach, I always want to see what people are doing and look at how we can kind of optimise what they're already doing. You actually see that Joe and Tim, on future episodes of when you'll see other lifts as well, you'll see that they're actually technically very subtly different actually. So go back to this one. So Rosie, can you just flip the GoPro if it's not on anyway? So going back to this one, what I want you to do this time is, because this is an instant fix that have helped loads of people to find that centre line. Because what a lot of people do is they'll find this rack position, and then they'll try and find that centre point that feels nice and balanced, and then they'll try twisting. They might be a little bit inflexible, like things just don't feel right. They might try and shift the hip and feel a little bit tight. And kind of a simple little thing for people to try if they want to find the centre point. Imagine the opposite side leg, just let it go soft. So let that knee go a little bit soft, put a little bit more weight in it, and then instantly, without compromising the integrity of the torso angle, which again we'll cover, we'll go a bit more depth into a minute, you're maintaining that torso integrity, but you're just getting that shift to bring that dumbbell more central. And instantly, with a lot of people who are struggling to find the rack position, you try that little cue, and I think that after a couple of sessions, that's going to feel pretty damn good. So what you're sacrificing there, it's like kind of going what we were saying before about trusting your joints and trusting your skeleton. So what you're compromising there a little bit is you're flexing the knee, so you're not getting that kind of stability from the knee being locked out. But we need to remember that this dumbbell that we're having, even if you say Tim, even if he does 70 kilos for instance, or 80 kilos, getting up towards his body weight, it's still not a massive weight on the system compared to like an axle or a log. So you can almost sacrifice that little bit of kind of stability and it's going to make it a little bit more efficient. So yeah, let's just demonstrate the big error that you see a lot of people do. In fact, Joe, let's come to you. You've had a bit of a rest. Let's just think logically, right? When people have done a little bit of log pressing, a little bit of axial pressing, or whatever, they come to a dumbbell. They see it quite a lot actually, people who are really good at log pressing and axle. They come to a dumbbell and they're trying to use the same mechanics of they're trying to be square with the lower body. If you're square with the lower body, I haven't seen anybody who can manage to be square with the lower body and be really, really good at dumbbell, because it's so hard to find that centre line, you see. So what I want Joe to demonstrate is, imagine you just being square with the body, no kind of, don't try and find the centre, just try and logically, this is what a lot of people do when they're starting off, is they just almost just balance on the shoulder, and it like over there, that's where you see people, and you can see he's struggling straight away.
And it feels like it's just peeling up my back, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where you see.
As soon as they go into that dip, it's just rolling.
Yeah, exactly, and then that's the big error. So you can see that it's dangerous. He's really putting his shoulder in an exposed position. But as soon as he starts to dip, the weight's going out there. Can you demonstrate that?
Not really, it's hard.
Yeah.
It feels like it's going to rip my shoulder off.
That's it.
Well, that's the thing. So you can see straight away. You can see why people. It's so common. Especially people who are competing and they've got away with doing a decent log and decent axle. They've been competing a few years, so they just have dumbbells and come up in a comp, and then they come to dumbbell, kind of not expect themselves to be good, but like kind of they do. Yeah, they can kind of like undervalue how technical it can be, and a few little tweaks, and it can
So
feel really
uncomfortable the first couple of times you do it.
Yeah.
It's about finding that comfortable rack position, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So that's got to be number one. There's no point in even trying to, just like we were seeing there when they tried to apply the dip, like you're just fighting a losing battle. And going back to that, this isn't digging anybody out at all, because I've heard it so many times, but that cue of keeping your elbows up, like I despise that cue, because instead of thinking about keeping your elbows up to, if you're thinking about keeping your elbows up to and using your upper body to keep that dumbbell in an alright rack position, like you've already lost, in my opinion, and you're not going to be very good. So what you should do instead is find a position where your elbow doesn't want to move, and we'll build on this with the axle next week and the log that we're going to do. But you need to find that position and find that rack position where your elbow doesn't want to move and flicker around. You could see there when they were over to this side, as soon as they did, they wanted to move. Whereas if they come to a more central rack position now, let's just both do a push press.
You can practice that by just doing the dips, isn't it? That's the key, rather than actually doing the press. If you do like 5 dips now, Tim, that dumbbell's not moving.
Yeah,
it's comfortable.
Then to be fair, if you replay this and watch it back, put it down, Tim. Rest. Right. So if anybody replays that and watches it back, it's actually pretty rubbish for Tim, because I know how good he is. Yeah, and he's just like almost, it's a lightweight for him, so he's not really focusing that much. But I could see it's subtle, it's only degrees, but you're talking, these degrees are going to be the difference in you failing 85 and making 93. Like, you'll make 93 soon more. Like, but if you do it like that, you won't, and it'll be one of those sessions where, it doesn't feel good today. But it's like right from the start, right from the build-up. We need to think about what I've just said about find that position where your elbow doesn't want to move. Yeah, first of all, in the rack. So the thing that I like people to do is find that rack position when you're warming up, and almost think, I always do this personally, and I get other people to do it, where we always say, like, is your hand relaxed? Can you wiggle your fingers? Like, is it relaxed? So find that position to hold yourself accountable to, yes, I am relaxed. Yeah, because that will probably mean that you're in a pretty good position. Once you've established that position, let's see if we can dip and maintain that position without that hand having to tense up. Yeah, because when the hand's tensing up, that's probably that's probably the error that it's trying to correct. Yeah, whereas actually rely on the torso integrity and the proprioception, you're moving in the right direction, rather than using that arm to get you out of trouble. So let's see if Joe's a little bit better. Joe, let's go 4 dips and then 1 push press, yeah? And the 4 dips are just want to be so relaxed and let those hands and that, yeah? Slower on the way down. Pretty good. Yeah, very good. Feel like the line fell really good.
Yeah.
And you can see because when the line's so good like that, in terms of, say you can see the line, the bar, it's just straight, like, it's not an upper body exercise. Like, yeah, you can see with that, he's almost just using his upper body to catch it overhead, yeah, to stop it hitting the ceilings. It's so explosive, yeah. He's not doing what you see quite a lot of people doing, like a bit of a staggered knee dip and then pressing up, yeah. Because really, like, you can look at it like, we can't afford to do that. We're not strong enough in the upper body to be successful doing to do that, yeah. So I actually think a lot of people. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Let's go to the So let's talk about progressions then. So this is what everybody can benefit from doing. What these guys have just said. You can just practice the dip in isolation. These guys have done so much time spent practicing that dip. Yeah. But take it back a step. Like, there's a lot of people who've asked the same question about finding the rack position. They're like, I can't find the rack position. It's pointless practicing the dip mechanic. Pointless practicing the press if you haven't got the dip command. It's pointless practicing going to like a jerk if you can't push press well. Yeah. If you can't push press well, I've gone for that. But basically, you use each thing as a prerequisite. The rack position is the prerequisite to the dip. A successful dip is a prerequisite to a push press. And then once you push press really well, then you can look at like optimizing, go push jerk, power jerk, split jerk, and stuff like that. But it's pointless skipping steps. So a lot of people, if you can't find the rack position, don't be worried so much about pressing it yet. Try and get hold of a lighter dumbbell if you can, and just practice finding this rack position. It might take 2, 3, 4 sessions until you find that position what feels, oh my goodness, I feel like I can relax now in my upper body because I've just found that position that just feels comfortable. That's the goal, and then we'll move on to the dips.
And you'll find that as you use different dumbbells, different sort of whips.
Exactly. Yeah.
Go back to spare one, isn't it, every time?
Perfect. So that's that exact sequence I've just said. If I go and I'll do it quite frequently, where I'll go to another gym and I'll use a different dumbbell purposely to get used to kind of different scenarios, different setups and stuff, and I will use that exact sequence. Yeah, first of all I'll clean it, and I'll never go straight to the press. I'll clean it and I'll have a fiddle around. Some dumbbells might be, I might lean over more. It might. The difference in the handle lengths, the different densities. Like if you have like a lighter dumbbell that you load up with a load of plates, it's going to feel differently to a heavier dumbbell that you. So there's all these sort of cues. So if you use that little checklist, it'd be worth writing this down. Like find the rack position first. Once you found that weightless rack position that I talk a lot about, and I talk quite a lot about in my coaching and other exercises. Once you found that, then you can start having fun with controlling the dip. Once you've controlled the dip, you can go all the way to the bottom, you can pause at the bottom, you can go up different tempos, then you can start having a go at the push press. And if you take this kind of approach and make sure you're ticking off each step really, really well and using it as a prerequisite for the next one, I think a lot of people will do a hell of a lot better. So, yeah, let's go with it. Tim, you just demonstrate the rack position. Just chill out there, and I just want you to chill out in that rack position while Joe does. You do a set of 10 dips. And like Pete, I just want to demonstrate here that while these guys are doing this and cracking on with this, like a lot of people are actually scared of doing stuff like this because they think, oh, well, I've got a number to hit on my program. Doing all this stuff, it's going to, like, I don't want to time myself out before I get up to my numbers. Let's get some weight. Have you done, Joe?
No.
But I want to show you, we'll probably be able to add weight in a little bit and go pretty heavy with these two. And I suspect that because we're spending time opening up these positions and getting getting some decent proprioceptive feedback instead of just cramming the weight on. Yeah, we'll be able to go up quite a bit. So yeah, once we've done that. So by the way, some people struggle because they might go to a strongman gym and it might be the dumbbell might be, I don't know, say your log press is, I don't know, 90 kilos, 100 kilos, and you go to a gym and the monster dumbbell's 50. It's difficult to learn on and jump in like at that weight. So like here, we've got a range of dumbbells. Sometimes we've got one. Where's the grey one? Oh yeah, we've got the grey one here. This one here, we've made to feel like those. This one, what's this? 15 kilos? Is it 14? And it's just absolutely brilliant. Like I use it to warm up, and I use it to get this get the positions opened up and stuff without accumulating fatigue, and it's just absolutely brilliant. So if I use that, and that's like, say, whatever, 15% of my PB, like these guys that are coming in and starting at 50 kilos, and the log press overhead might be 100 kilos. It's a difficult task, so don't feel like you're struggling with dumbbell. Maybe actually just starting a little bit too heavy because of the provisions. So you can practice the stuff like with obviously smaller dumbbells and stuff. But in terms of finding the rack position, what you could do is stuff like shouldering things like sandbag to shoulder. You could like put a 30, 40 kilo sandbag on your shoulder pretty comfortably, and you use that to play around with finding this finding the rack position. You could even do your dips with it and find that position that's weightless. But when you come to a dumbbell, you're right. So now we'll go to some push presses. Okay. And you do tempo dips, so you just go. I know you've just done dips, haven't you? No, you did the rack. You did the. So you just go for. So 3 second down, 3 second pause at the bottom of the dip, right? And I just want people to see on camera, right? I want people to see just all these important positions before we have fun and we slam some weight. Just one of them. Yeah. Just go slowly centric, and I want you to imagine, draw, so pause there, draw this imaginary line down the centre of his body, like that, right? And all the way down, we want that line not to move, just be exactly there. At the bottom of the dip, that's great. Stand up, go back down, pause at the bottom of the dip, and then another little error that you see people doing, they'll get this beautiful position, but then they'll drive up out to the side like that. Whereas what we want to do is keep it going up there as a non-negotiable. So let's drive up in that perfectly straight line, Tim. That's okay, you can see it went out that way a tiny bit. Yeah? But yeah, so right, okay, let's get some plates in that then, yeah? And what to...
You want 60?
Yeah? So Jake, have you got any of the questions that people have written in to...
If you just unlock that.
Yeah.
I think one that a couple of people asked pre-session was like hand position.
Yeah. Right, let's go with hand position. So wait there, before we add weight, don't add any weight to that. No, I want to demonstrate with this because it'll be perfect, right? So, hand position. So, massive tip that I give to people is, I always say, get the hand. For people struggling with the rack, assuming that their overhead stability is good, like if this is you, where you feel like the rack's really wobbly and it's frustrating because when I get it there it feels light. Yeah, there's quite a few of you listening who that makes sense to. Then this little tip will just be a game changer for a lot of you. So if your overhead stability is good, what you can do, you can almost when your rack position isn't great, like you can almost sacrifice a little bit of that overhead stability, i.e. make that a little bit more difficult by making the rack position easier. And we can do this by moving your hand from the centre, because obviously we want to be the hand. If you're on the centre of the handle when we're overhead, then that's going to be a nice position. That's going to be nicely balanced, yeah. But if you think about it, the further away. See, that's all right. So when you're picking it up, the further when you're in the rack position, think about it like this. The further your hand is away from your shoulder, the moment arm is increased, and therefore you're having to produce more force to stabilise the same weight. So if we can shorten that moment arm, and by having the dumbbell closer to the base, then you're going to have to produce less force to stabilise the same weight. But obviously the thing that the trade-off is going to be is when you go overhead, it is going to be a bit more to one way. You're not going to be central on the dumbbell handle, so you're going to you're going to spend a few sessions. Getting used to it. So what I want to do to demonstrate this,
I normally put my hand in the middle, and you've been trying to get me to do this the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's why Joe's a little bit behind Tim on dumbbell actually. 8, 2, 9. So what I want Joe to demonstrate, and I want him to go the other way, right? I want you've just seen him demonstrate some really good reps there. So I want you to go. I want your hand to go this side, right?
So for those seeing this way.
Yeah.
The wrong way. Yeah.
This is the opposite.
So this is just to demonstrate like science and physics, I suppose. Right, and I just want you to go for it, Joe.
Working out.
Right, so I want you to, in fact, do it again. But I don't want to
go off the that again.
Do it again, but I don't want you to press it. I just want you to do the dips, right? And let's see what happens. I've got a suspicion what might happen when he's doing his dips. So by the way, we've seen him press this dumbbell really, really easily and just load it. Come on, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I want you to do five controlled dips in the rack. So you can see his elbow flipping. Now his elbow's wanting to move. Can you feel how that's a little bit more difficult than where you had it? Yeah? Cool. Let's go the other way. So to me, straight away, like if I said to Joe, right, come on, put some legs into it, and he committed up there, his arms are wobbling all the way over here. So let's not go away. Yeah, let's go the other way. So not too extreme though. You don't have to go right up to it, but just a little bit closer to the base than usual, and just compare how does that rack feel, Joe?
It feels better than the previous then.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah? So that's actually the thing that I want you to practice today, right? And it might mean that's just an instant little tweak, and it does fit. It's going to be 100%. It's going to be better, and it's one of those that people try next time they're in the gym, and it's one of those that for a lot of people it's just be like, oh my god, I can't believe the difference it makes instantly. With other people, it might take 2, 3, 4 sessions to get your head around it, but I would say persevere with it, especially if that's your error, the rack stability. So that's what I want you to crack on with today. Yeah, when we build up the weight, I want you to go close to that base. Yeah, and if it feels a bit more
Towards the choke down.
Yeah, so there.
So further away from
further away from you. So think about it. When you've got it there,
that's good, yeah.
your hand's close to your shoulder. Yeah? That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
So that was the question that came up quite a bit. And also if you feel like, oh goodness, this rack position feels better, but it feels really unstable overhead now. Just like I said, use the information that we're we're kind of providing, and make your own philosophy on it. Like, go somewhere in the middle. You might find that somewhere in the middle. I go right up to the base now because I'm really comfortable. I've worked on my overhead stability, so I'm fine stabilising that with my hand right to the extreme end because it feels so good in the rack. But at first, it did feel so. But basically, if you understand that thing of look at it on a sliding scale, most of us will probably do better going up towards the base. So
further away.
The end of the dumbbell that's further away. A simple way of a simple little image in my head that I do. I imagine it's this, and I imagine in my head sometimes when I go to, especially when I go to a new dumbbell, I imagine that I'm just trying to stabilise. I imagine that bottom bit there is chopped off, and I'm just trying to stabilise this bit here. And if I was trying to stabilise this bit here like this, my hand would be there, and that just feels great. The further I go away, like there, the more that kind of, the arm feels uncomfortable. So, yeah, this is one of the most important things we'll cover today, like, that could just be, like, it's one of those nuggets of things that will just instantly change. If your hand's central on the dumbbell and you go to this, it's just free gains. It's like chalking the dumbbell and using a drop pad. It's that much of there's not much skill involved. It's just instantly giving yourself an easier task. So the more we can do that with lifts, obviously the better. Right, come on then, let's build up with some weight now, yeah? 60. So what I want you, even if it's sacrifice, keep going. I will just keep. So again, like, we wouldn't want this to be organic and real coaching. Yeah, I want to challenge these guys. I'm not just making them do stuff that they're really good at. I'm actually giving Joe a big change here. That it could very often with Joe, it takes him a few sessions to process it. So
A few weeks,
but I would rather him today, doing what we're doing. I would rather him struggle a little bit today to go a couple of steps forward in a couple of weeks.
Which one's Joe?
One with dodgy rack position. Right, come on then, Joe. Let's go with that base. Yeah. And if it feels like the overhead stability goes a little bit, then we won't worry about that. Keep going. But what I would say to people, like, say if you do get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, my rack position does feel better now, I've moved my hand, but the overhead position feels a little bit, like, obviously that's the thing that's compromising. Simple way of coaching from a constraints perspective, which is the methods that I use, is spend more time there. So hold the weight overhead for a bit longer. Not bothered about Tim doing it. Sit down, but what I want Joe to do now to give him an extra challenge, because he's not used to stabilising that new hand position. So Joe, I want you to just do that weight again, and I want you to do a 3 count pause, or 5 count pause, yeah? And this is what I'd recommend for anybody who, you see a lot of people, but they look really powerful, and then they're not comfortable with the weight overhead. Right, hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that was brilliant, exactly what we're looking for. Because what you could see there, what Joe wanted to do in those first couple of seconds was, he had a little bit of a flicker at his arm, he wasn't sure. And like usually if it was just a training rep, we'd have put it down there. So he'd have missed out on that opportunity of learning. And where he's not even getting stronger, he's just finding that position that's more efficient to stabilise, which, if you didn't see that, when I send you the recording of this, like, just rewind it again, just watch it again. It looked like he wasn't sure, but because we'd constrained him to holding it there, he found that position, and if we'd have said, by the end of it, we'd have said, hold it 10 seconds longer, you could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Whereas that first couple of seconds were just, so, a few sessions like this, spending more time in the position that least practice that or feel least comfortable with. Yeah. So little ideas like that. You guys just keep going. I'm just going to keep talking. What? Stuff. So what you can do is let the like hopefully you can get some ideas here how you keep adding weight, guys. Because actually what I want you to do, I want you to see where it breaks down today, and then we'll drop down and basically what I will do, I'll show you guys how to let your kind of own performance dictate the assistance work you do. That looks really good, Joe. Down. Good man. So actually letting you hopefully help you understand the lift a little bit more, so you can let that guide your assistance work instead of just going to do some like stuff that you've written before the session. Keep like dynamic and open-minded with it and understand it more. You can actually let what you do within the session dictate what you do as your assistance work. So straight away, if we capped it there and say, and we dropped it down and did some more volume or some more assistance work, like straight away, hopefully you could see that, right, Joe, we're gonna get to spend more time with the weight overhead. So I like keeping things super simple and specific. You might have people who like doing, like say, oh, you can do weight as walks, walk around the gym, but work on that overhead stability with the dumbbell. You might do Turkish get-ups. You might see people doing one-arm jerk recoveries and stuff like that. If you're not sure what I mean, just look it up on YouTube. But personally, I like the dead specific. I like
No, it's alright.
Josh, there's some questions starting to come through.
Yeah. So I like doing it, just let me finish that bit. I like being dead specific with the assistants and actually just think, right, well, overhead stability doesn't feel great today. Right, drop the weight back a little bit and spend a little bit more time in the position that isn't developed. The rack position feels a bit not great. Drop it back down and spend a little bit more time with the rack. Yeah, and do some pauses in the rack. If the rack position feels great and it feels great on the head, but you're losing it on the dip, then it's a proprioceptive thing that you need to practice, i.e. the skill and consistency of actually moving. So practice that skill. So that's my challenge to you guys. Break down your lift when you're getting up to a challenging weight, not just kind of empty dumbbell weight or whatever, or something like we'll see with these guys. Let's see where they break down and let that dictate your assistance. So just think, is it the rack? Is it the clean? Probably not the clean on the dumbbell yet. For a lot of people, probably going to be the rack, probably the overhead stability, or the motor control with the dip. So identify which one of those and use some of the assistance ideas to work on it, and that'll help you. And don't be afraid of dropping the weight. Let's go with the questions, yeah? Jim?
The first two questions are quite related.
So keep going, guys, yeah?
And it's about where to focus your eyesight or your gaze while you're pressing down.
Right. I think it's one of those things that people focus on, and you just be better focusing on the stuff that I've just said. Unless you're getting distracted, unless you're outside and the clouds are moving and stuff.
You've definitely given us cues before about where to aim your elbow and stuff.
Right.
That might be quite useful.
Yeah, but then
that always gives me a focus point in terms of that.
Well, you tell me where works for you, because the thing is that with this, I don't like to give a blanket thing. I think if you spend time, like most of us, we spend time in that rack position, that will give you the information with your anthropometry, your limb length, your muscle size, the size of the dumbbell, the density of the dumbbell, all this stuff, all that feedback will be processed and given back to you. So what I would say with stuff like that is actually take ownership and find your position. Do these things that I've said. It's nice, that's 80 kilos body weight nearly.
I was looking over towards the clock there.
Is it? I think so.
But yeah, I would say, yeah, spend a bit more time and in the rack, and that you'll find some people elbows are out here. You feel really good there, don't you? Some people do. Some people really high. Some people rack it here. But if people watch people who are really good and really good. Oh, by the way, really good. I'll give you a stat here. Really good would be around.
Nice. That's better than 70.
Well done for the hold. Would be, say, as a ratio, around 62% of your log. So think about what your log is, and think 62%. Are you around that threshold, or is your dumbbell a little bit lower? If your dumbbell's lower than 62% of your log, I would say that just work technique. It's great. You don't need to get stronger to lift a decent weight. Yeah, if you're doing, say, a 150 log, but you're struggling with 80 dumbbell, the good news is you don't need to get any stronger to get up to 90, 95 range, 100 range, really. Like, you just need to work technique, yeah? But in terms of like the position that you're looking at, again, don't worry too much about it. Focus on those things. Get all those things, all the things that I've mentioned. Like,
I think if you get them right, you can look anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Like, if I'm comfortable here, I can look around the room and still focus on pressing.
Yeah, that's it. Some people say,
I'm not battling it to try and like. Oh.
Yeah. Some people say, look at the dumbbell, look at something on the wall. Like, just focus on feel rather than what the proprioception feedback. Like, what is the dumbbell telling your body? Yeah, rather than thinking about looking things. That's my opinion on it. Like, if you're thinking about that, there's so many more important things that you can be thinking on, in my opinion. So you can see that as he dipped there, it's kind of the opposite of what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people will dip and then it peels out there. Tim had almost dipped a little bit too much into his left leg. So yeah, let's have another go at that.
I'll do it.
And yeah, if he misses a second time, then we'll sack it off and base it off that. But I think if he can, like, if you slow-mo this video, you'll see that he's losing it into his left leg a little bit and he's dropping it. So if he keep that central, he's strong enough to do it. Yeah. A lot better. Anyway, just leave it at that. What was that? 80. So if we go, let's
Show five is really good.
For the purpose of today, go drop it down to 60, and I just want you to do 3 sets of 2 at that, or 2 sets of 2 will do. Good job. And I'll just let what I see what we do on this next one.
Yeah, so shit.
What was that? 80. So that's like 2.5 kilos off his PB, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and looks pretty good. It looks a bit unfamiliar, the balance, it doesn't look confident with it yet, but hopefully you can see that just on a random night doing a few demos, getting to working at such a high percentage because of that little subtle change in technique. So, you're frustrated, you'll have a go. But do go to the 60, Tim, you can go back to that in a minute. Go on, go to the 60, I know you've already done that. Go to the 60, and what I'm going to challenge Tim to do now is he's losing it, the rack position looks great, he's losing it just at that bottom. So
yeah, that's where I feel like I'm staying.
Let's constrain him to do it and see what happens. So let's say, right, I want a 3-second pause at the bottom of the dip. Yeah? I want you to do a double, so...
What, you want me to press it?
Yeah, we'll give you a 3 count, get it up, and then do it again. I want you to do a set of 2. And then
press it on both?
Yeah, I want you to make the rep. And if you can do a set of 2 really well on this, you can have another go at the 80s. I know you want to, yeah. But come on, you've got to own this bottom of the dip first. Come on. But right now, press from there. Go. Do you want one more rep better? Just pause at the bottom and then and then we'll drop it down and do some other skills. Have you got any more questions? Because I know you just want to go with that, but that's not the focus.
Yeah, I think there's a question, well, there's some sort of like related questions, and I don't know, we've focused a lot on like sort of maximal weight dumbbells. And there's 2 questions which are talking about practice doing dumbbell for reps or training both sides of dumbbell. I don't know if you wanted to just touch on that now or.
Yeah, so yeah, just like any exercise that we do, like I'm a massive fan of actually being versatile with different techniques. Like people who follow me on Instagram will see the way that I do like an axle for reps where I'm going to get 8 reps is completely different to doing a single. Same with the dumbbell, same with a lot of other lifts. So if you like, just be honest with yourself. If you're doing it for a competition where you're going to be repping, you're going to be doing 5, 6, 7 reps or whatever, then I would say the press technique that you are most efficient and confident with. So with most people, probably push press. But I think the clean's going to be where you make the big difference. So actually,
just drop it down.
Yeah, drop one of those down to 50. And then again, what you do with this, we don't want to be probably don't want to be dumping it because it's just gonna cost you a lot of time where you're going to be chasing the weight around to reset it. So getting efficient at doing touch and go reps is definitely that's what we do. Like say if you've got say they were doing 60 for reps or something, they were maybe looking at, I don't know, getting 5, 6, 7 reps. We would definitely be looking at touch and go reps, yeah. So let's have a go. So again, just like anything, just practice it. Practice it as sub-maximally as you can. We're going with 50 today. Ideally we're doing 30, 35, 40 and then build back up. But a big thing for the touching, come on, let's go. Do a set 3, touch and go. So a big tip for touch and go reps using the touch and go cleats is you're bringing it. Can you bring out to the side?
The thing is, I haven't done much of that. No. I found that really difficult.
Yeah.
Really difficult. The hardest bit was getting my other hand.
Yeah.
In the right position to control it down. Like most of the time, I'm just going to grab it to my fingers.
Well, I'm glad that you've identified that. Because that for me is one of the massively important things to do touch and go reps. Is actually that's why I brought you to the side. When we're going from the front, we're going for a max. Like I'm a massive, or you're going for like a heavy single or something, or a heavy double with no time constraints. I would say video your reps from the front because you will see, you'll be able to see where that line is, and you'll be able to see that the object is aligned with through the middle of your feet. Whereas when we're doing touch and go reps, we're bringing in that element of the eccentric, where actually what we want to do, if you're not careful, what you can do with the eccentric and you're dropping it down there.
Right in front.
Exactly, you are using it's that lever, that moment arm, whatever, that you're really increasing. You're having to produce more force to control it there. So a thing that would be worthwhile practicing is, again, videoing from the side and keeping the dumbbell really close to imagine trying to keep it as close to midfoot as possible.
Would you say to slow that bit down, or?
Depends on
as fast as you can with control.
Yeah.
Again, it's just training and practice. It's like anything.
And where is the best place to put your opposite hand then.
Put your opposite hand. That's all right. Let's see what you're doing.
So when I'll talk you through this. I go through the.
Yeah.
So, press. No. So that was better actually. Trying to get my hand on the other bit of the dumbbell handle as well, ideally.
Cool.
Whereas before I just felt like I was just grabbing onto my hand.
Yeah.
And it was just on top of it. It shouldn't feel particularly comfortable.
So again, this is like because a lot of the coaching that we do is online. It's constraints led. Like instead of cueing people, like giving people lots of like technical cues to get into practice. Like actually, what you guys think about your coaching, how guys that you coach who've improved drastically in technique on lots of really technical exercises, and you do that a lot of the time by actually just prescribing appropriate practice. You've just done it yourself there, Joe, where you've asked me a question and then you've just done a rep and you've worked it out. So let's see if we can do 3 in a row, replicating that, Joe. Yeah. Nice. That's it.
Felt like it's more control and goes to the middle of the body again, so it feels lighter, doesn't it, as a result?
Yeah, so just make sure that we're doing touch and go reps and keeping it close. So we've got any other main questions coming in, Jake? So we've got 5 minutes, haven't we, that we want to wrap up.
I think the thing with opposite arm dumbbell, that was mentioned. Again, it comes down to that rack position.
What was the question on opposite arm?
Just, I don't know. Something about it, wasn't it?
Sometimes in a comp you've got to do both arms.
Yeah. So this is the thing for me, especially like just talking about. I know we've got people across the world listening to this, but like in the UK, like most of the comps are just it's just single arm dumbbell. It's like max dumbbell, dumbbell for reps, and it's just like just look at do a needs analysis of the sport in your region, in your wherever you are, and just think, well, how often does it come up? Right? At the last 10 dumbbell comps that we've known, how many do you have to do both arms? And there'll be places in the world that you do have to do it more frequently, and therefore obviously adjust your training appropriately. But really in this country, most of the time it's one arm. So I would say to people, I think people are
I would say it's worth just having a little practice, even if it's, for 10 minutes. Because I feel like working the opposite arm has actually improved my stronger arm. Because I've had to think so much about the specifics in terms of technique, where the rack position is, elbow, all the different things. And that's, with like 30k on the opposite weaker arm, and then that's helped on my stronger arm as a result. So and just for 10 minutes, a little play around. But
and it's really good for like the skill acquisition and the processing, isn't it? Like, and it might be good to put in on like a recovery day or whatever, where you can just work out these cues that we're kind of saying to you. Like if you had to do it on his weaker side, you'd see that it is challenging. But I would say don't be afraid to specialise. Like you think of you watch like golfers and tennis players and stuff. They're just doing the same side swing for most of the training. So like. Some people say from like a balance standpoint and stuff like that. I don't think it's.
At the same time, if it comes up in a comp, 9 times out of 10 you don't have enough time to get half decent in it anyway. It's pretty light, so don't worry too much.
People asking about forearm pain and how you can try and prevent that.
Forearm pain, so stuff like.
You are one of the people that doesn't wear a sleeve. I don't know how you do it.
Honestly, that is just because. It's like what I do with like the other stuff as well, like stones and Husfeld and stuff like that. Like it's just like everybody can imagine. Think back to the first time that they did a back squat and they had a barbell on the back, and it might be a sub-maximal weight now, and you think, how am I going to put weight on that because it's hurting my neck, it's hurting my back? How can I? Whereas actually you do desensitize to it, and you do kind of toughen up a little bit, I suppose. But.
For us.
But sometimes I'll go and use dumbbells that are shorter handles. I did like one at Chaos the other week, one in Scotland the other week. Hostile, and that was digging in, and it was putting me off. So in that instance, put like neoprene sleeve, couple of neoprene sleeves on there. That usually does the job. It is one of those things that, yeah, I suppose I've
had it before in a con where I didn't want to wear a sleeve because it was a lighter one, and and I just tried to rotate my arm almost like so it wasn't on the bone. That worked quite well, but it was only a lighter dumbbell in the comp. So when I was in the rack position, instead of it being kind of on the bone like it usually is here, so underneath it, I just tried to spin my hand, open the palm up almost, and that got it more on the fleshy part. Which didn't hurt as much, to be honest.
So what I would say as well, like if you feel like you've got using the same dumbbell all the time and that's sticking and it feels uncomfortable, like have a play with you, like go to a different gym and visit find a dumbbell that's comfortable and maybe invest in it. Like that's what I've done. Like when I started learning dumbbell, I had a terrible dumbbell with the proportions out and it was just uncomfortable and stuff. So I invested in one that's actually comfortable to train for me, and then therefore I can get the practice in. So yeah, people who are really struggling, like ask yourself, are you using the same piece of kit all the time? Sometimes just trying a different piece of equipment can really help. Can we just go over the point? Have we got another question, Jake?
We've got a few questions.
Yeah.
But it's 3 minutes to 9.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure some people might have to leave at 9 o'clock or we're going to wrap things up. So we could.
Let's just have a little blast through it. Just
we give you like 20-second answers.
20-second answer, yeah.
Yeah, I'll time you.
And then you'll have to tune in for the next edition for the future.
One of them is about having the thumb around the handle or not in the rack position for the press.
Yeah. Just try it. See what feels good. Sit on the fence with that. I'm not going to preach one way or the other. Next one.
Yeah, you said that you've sort of already covered this one. How the front squat can be a predictor for perhaps someone's log press. You said using the dumbbell roughly 65% of your log. Were you saying
62, yeah, 0.62 of.
Is there any other like predictors for dumbbell?
Not off the top of my head, but so whoever messaged that, just like message me that question again, because I'll work something out and I'll find it out. That'd be something good to work on. Can I just have a look at the wrap up notes?
Yeah, I'll pass you that.
Cheers. So yeah, chalk a bit that's in to wrap up. So these are a few notes that you can take really quickly. Chalk the bit that's in contact. That's just free gains for you. Yeah, or if you're allowed in your competition, wear a grip shirt. You're just like amazing the difference. It just buys you that margin for error.
Shoulder's a good one as well. I actually prefer a chalk shoulder to a chalk.
Chalk your shoulder. Get a setup where the eccentric is taken out for accumulating volume at high percentage, relatively high percentages. Like you're just going to be able to get more work in heavier if you can drop it. Thing that is a non-negotiable is finding that. The bar path where the centre of the object is aligned with the centre of the body, and if you look from the side, the vertical like you should be maintaining the vertical torso on the dip. That is a non-negotiable. So if you look at that and you find out how you do that, if you maintain the vertical torso on the dip whilst you do dumbbell, that'll tell the rest of your body. That'll just tell the rest of your body what to do, and it'll probably feel to maintain the torso integrity and be successful, that your legs are it's all wonky, it's all different to log, and that's absolutely fine, and that just takes practice and getting used to.
To watch that back on.
So, like I've sat on the fence with a few of the questions, but I would say that the beauty of the dumbbell, there's so many different shapes, sizes, densities, like so many different combinations. Like take ownership of it and explore. Explore. Go and if somebody messaged me and they've got a perfect rack, perfect dip, perfect overhead stability, the clean's great, and you're stuck, message me, yeah, because I'd love to help you to get to the next level if all those things are ticked off. Most of us can probably think of one of those things and just do your next training phase shooting at them. And if you get stuck within that, message Tim, Joe, Molly. They're brilliant, and they'll be able to help you and give you some coaching feedback. And then be specific to the tactics based on the goals of the phase. So if you've got a comp coming up where it's dumbbell for reps, like obviously taking the touch and go tactic, if you're doing like say, I was training for a max dumbbell and I was at the point where my clean was the limiting factor, I was hit and miss with 90 kilos. So I've taught myself a new clean technique where I can I can clean a lot more now. And the whole thing feels better. Would I use that technique if I'm doing it for reps? No, completely different. So give that little cue. Try the hand closer to the base. So think about that moment arm that you're having stabilised, and then think about to find that centre line of the rack. Just have a go at bending the opposite, going soft at the knee of the other side leg. And the same thing with what I always say to a lot of my clients is don't try and change everything at once. Pick one of those little things and go and practice it for 100 reps before you bring the second thing in, and then work on the second thing for 100 reps, and if that takes a couple of weeks, couple of months, fine. But once you've ticked off all that stuff, it'll be amazing that how much you can improve, rather than trying to do everything, loads of different things at once. Like I've said, message Joe, Tim, Molly, who are really good coaches, and they'll be sure to be able to help you. So if you feel like this has been valuable for you, please share this on social media, because that's what we want to do. Is like all the money that we've got from this, I'm just going to put into like Facebook ads and stuff like that, and just basically just try and get this thing snowballing and try and get valuable information out to everybody. And hopefully you can see by my approach that I'm just opening up some things to you, and it's up to you how you interpret it. But we're going to do Axel next week, so I've put a link on my the link in bio thing, the link tree. So go on there, and there's an early bird fee that's going to be live until tomorrow, where you can pay £8 for the session next week. Or alternatively, if you get 3 friends, free friends paid up, you don't have to pay. The other thing, there's a 24-hour flash sale on the MST drop pads. That again is on the link tree. So the details are on there. If you want to get one of those, I highly recommend. Or if you're on a budget, getting hold of some sofa cushions. I've had plenty out of Skips over the course of the years, and they're just absolutely brilliant. They're a lot better than using tyres and stuff like that, because they just kill it. So we're going to do Axel next week, Axel MasterClass next week, so sign up to the link. We covered everything, guys. Are we happy?
Is it one the week after? Or?
Pardon?
Is it 1 week after?
Yeah, we're going to do log the week after. So we're going to do the 3 weeks in a row overhead series. I'll probably put an offer on actually. I'll just do the Axel early bird sign up. If you think this has been valuable, sign up. Right, thank you.